The Movies of the Meek, where we watch made-for-TV movies and miniseries so you don't have to. From Gia to Xenon, Hysteria to Sybil, welcome to Movies of the Meek.
This week we watched Searching for Neverland, the Michael Jackson story. And this is the story of Michael Jackson's bodyguard who joined his crew the last 2 years of his life. And it is literally just a story about Michael Jackson's bodyguard. They kind of hint towards some of the controversies that happened before Michael Jackson left the country, and they hint towards some of the controversies that happened when he came back into the country. But with 100% honesty, I don't think that this movie needed to exist because it doesn't cover anything that's interesting. When the bodyguard at the beginning of the film says, "This is our story," he's being 100% serious because he narrates the film and it is really his story. It is a story about this bodyguard and it makes this bodyguard look real good. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you're completely right.
When you finish watching the movie, you're like, oh, this bodyguard was cool and everyone loved him, because that's what the movie shows.
It's like, imagine an episode of House Hunters where it stars Michael Jackson, but it like just focuses on his security guard the whole time. And that's what I felt when watching this movie, because this is literally a movie about the security guard participating in Michael Jackson trying to find his dream home.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it though. It was pointless, but I loved it. And it was too long. It was like 20 minutes too long.
Easily 20 minutes too long. This movie could have been an hour.
Yeah.
And I would have been so thankful for it being just an hour. You know, they introduced the bodyguard's family, and okay, so if you're trying to make a movie that's going to have me be invested in it, okay, this is a note to anyone. You need tension coming from somewhere, okay? There are so many times in this film where there are things where I go, if someone just tried a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, we could have some tension that would prevent me from looking at the ceiling wanting to die while I watch your movie. Because that happened maybe 30 times, and I'm being 100% serious.
I mean, I thought Deshaun was gonna, or whatever his name is, Devon, the other security guard. I thought he was gonna be the source of most of the tension in this movie. Like, he was gonna backstab Michael Jackson.
Same.
But no.
They introduce a scene where he's at dinner with his girlfriend and they're at a chicken place. And that's when I was at the point in the movie where I saw that and I was like, finally, some kind of romance is going to happen. I was like, because I love love in my movies. And I was like, finally, like a love story, a love interest, something cool's going to happen. And I was like, oh shit, like he's going to tell his girl that he works for Michael Jackson. And then what was the point of that scene? Because absolutely nothing happens.
Well, the point...
He doesn't fully confirm with his girl that he works for Michael Jackson, because she's like, what was that about? And he's like, oh, it's nothing. It's cool, baby. And then there's also a guy comes up, and he's like, hey, man, like, if you want $50,000, just tell me where that son of a bitch lives. Just tell me. And he's like, no, man. He shreds up the paper, and he throws it in his face.
Yeah.
And guess what? That's where a point of tension could have happened. Even just alluding to it didn't even really need to happen.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
like if he kept that card and looked at
just so you were wondering the next half hour, like, is he gonna fucking reveal the address of his Neverland?
Exactly.
And we don't get it. They brush right over that.
They just get rid of it. And the same thing with the girlfriend, where she's just like, I feel like I never see you. You fucking with all these girls. Like, you're doing all this stuff. And he's like, nah, baby, like, that's not what it is. And she's like, why can't you tell me? He's like, I just can't. And then the scene ends. He fights with that fat woman that works at the store. And his girlfriend calls her heifer. And she's like, heifer? I was like, this shit's getting real. And it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking
none of it needed
pointless, dude. It's pointless.
and that's the beginning of the movie. We're meeting the bodyguard's family, and you're learning that like he's a family man and he doesn't have a wife, and times are tough, and you know his daughter's going, "Daddy, are you gonna be home for Christmas?" And he's like, "Of course, baby girl, I promised you." And then he gets called away, and Michael Jackson is like, "Michael, Bill, my name is Michael Jackson, and I really want you to be my bodyguard and be here for Christmas." And he's like, "Fuck." But that never becomes a point of contention in the film. Nothing happens with the family.
We never see the family. We see them like twice this whole movie.
Yeah, and there's one scene where the daughter's like, "Do you not love us, Daddy?" And he's like, "Of course I love you, baby girl. Of course I love you." And she's like, "I'll see you in the next scene and everything will be fine." And it's like, what the fuck?
Honestly, the only tension this movie has going for it is the whole money problem with Michael Jackson and the security guards.
Yeah.
Like, the whole movie, they're like, "Yo, Michael, when are we going to get paid?" And he's like, in a minute, just wait.
I got to spend $300,000 on
and then
toys.
He goes and I love the shopping scene. I love it because it's exactly how I imagined Michael Jackson shopping would be. Holy shit. I want that one. I want this one. Blanket will love that one.
Fucking Blanket.
The best fucking name of all time.
I forgot that was his kid's name. So the first time when he's going, Blanket, I was like, oh God.
It's Blanket, Paris, and then what's the other one's name?
Chad
got a dope
Jackson.
Name. Chad Jackson. Oh my God.
But
this is like a hard movie to talk about because there's no. It's just scene after scene of them just like watching Michael Jackson do things.
Yeah, and
you know
when he's like, "Oh, I want to take my kids to the mall," and he goes with them to the mall, and everyone freaks out. It's once again just a scene where we're watching people freak out about Michael Jackson and the bodyguards having to deal with it and figure out how to deal with it.
And honestly, they fail most of these scenes.
Like, a lot.
They
of the
don't
time,
do a great job protecting Michael Jackson.
It isn't until they realize they should just put a motorcycle helmet on Michael Jackson's face. It isn't until that amazing realization that that's what they should do. That Michael Jackson is successfully able to go outside
and hang out with Michael Jackson impersonators so no one pays attention to him.
Oh, it's so good.
Honestly, they should just hire a bunch of Michael Jackson impersonators and surround Michael Jackson with those impersonators at all times so no one will know who the real Michael Jackson is.
Great plan.
Damn, I should have been a security guard.
Especially when the ones we saw in this film were black.
When I was in high school. Yeah.
Now, him going to the mall and having people freak out did remind me, there is a video where apparently Michael Jackson had a friend of his who owned a mall. He had that friend basically close off a quarter of the mall and fill it with actors who would pretend that Michael Jackson was a normal person so he could experience what it was like for a person to shop for a day. Like they videotaped it.
What?
And it's one of those things where it's like, it gives you, and I think that's my main thing with this portrayal of his mindset, or maybe his actual mindset. I don't know too much, obviously, about Michael Jackson. But when you see the video of him in this mall shopping, he's portraying it like life is like a Disney movie, you know? Like, Michael Jackson's version of what shopping is so completely different than what I think shopping is. Because he's, like, going around and talking with people and having a fun time, and, like, the store clerks come over and they're like, "Let's turn your hat into a sundae," and start pouring whipped cream on him, and he's like, "Oh my God, it's hilarious." And it's like, that's not what shopping is like. What planet are you on?
He's on a different planet, dude.
And it kind of ties into the title of the film, because the kids keep calling it Neverland, and I assume that that's because Neverland was in the tabloid titles, but he keeps calling this new house Wonderland.
Well, I think that's because he wanted a new Neverland, a new version, because the old version was tainted by all the, child allegations.
Yeah.
So So he's looking for Neverland Part 2.
And so that's what I'm saying is that the kids are calling it Neverland, and he's like, no, it's Wonderland. And then finally they're like, okay, yeah, Wonderland. But then the title of the movie, they're like, no, fuck that, Searching for Neverland.
Searching for Neverland. House hunters searching for Neverland.
House hunters searching for Neverland. And how are Michael Jackson's kids so white?
I don't know. Who were the mothers? There were different mothers, right? Because
I have no idea. Let's get back into the narration of this garbage movie. So, like, it at least remains consistent. That's one of my complaints about these garbage movies that have narration, okay?
Well, that it shows up, like, once at the ending or something. And
yeah, like,
makes no sense.
This movie at least has it, like, 8 times.
It's consistent.
In the movie.
Yeah.
You know, so that's good. I was glad. Now, then it gets to the point where Paris says, Daddy, why do they call you Wacko Jacko?
Oh, dude.
And he goes, isn't it nice to call people names? Jehovah wouldn't like it. And that's when I was like, oh, yeah, he's a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. And then it shows him, because once again, it's just going through random sequences of him doing random things. He, I guess, rents out a movie theater or something, or has like a private theater in his house, and he has hot sauce and butter.
That's a theme in this movie, is hot sauce.
And that's when the narration goes, I don't care about people calling him white. If y'all bring your own hot sauce and butter into movie theaters, y'all black and hood and ghetto.
That's pretty good.
And
that's pretty good.
That is just terrible. You know?
The narration is done by the security guard, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So it is his movie. It's just such a, why would they do that? It's such a fucking weird idea, you know?
And so that brings up the other thing that they could have used to make this movie interesting is, okay, so when the security guards get phased out, make that a bigger deal.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Show that they're concerned about the fact that they're phased out. Show them trying to be brought back in.
We literally get narration. It cuts to them, both security guards, at the house with that other guy that has his own security force. I forget his name. And it kind of just, they're just like, all right, whatever, we'll leave. And there's some narration saying that, you know, they were getting pushed out. Or no, it's the interview, right? Because the whole movie has that mechanic as well, which we didn't even talk about yet, which is like...
I didn't want to talk about it.
You didn't want to talk.
I just wanted to ignore that part of this
The
movie.
interviewers were like the worst actors of all time.
Fucking garbage.
It was terrible. I thought that was such a weird thing to do. Anyway, you're right. Like, they completely gloss over that whole... That could have been like the fucking thing in this movie, is them fighting back. But it literally cuts from that scene. Bill gets a phone call from Michael Jackson, crying because he's like, I don't know what's happening. Where are you? And it cuts again, and he's like Bill's with his family, and Michael dies on the news. And that's it. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah. And in the interview, because once again they're being like investigated or interrogated or maybe just interviewed. Who knows? You know.
I was very confused. I thought they were the cops at first, but no, I think they're just the private investigators.
And so in that interview, Bill goes, man, if we was there, I would have taken him to the hospital myself. And his boy goes, straight up.
And then literally his boy says, yeah, but he would have died anyway. Like, they make it a point to say if they were there, they would save him. And then Devon says, yeah, but you know, with that Vegas show, he would have died anyway. And I was like, what the fuck are you guys even saying right now?
But that's all right.
Michael's on drugs.
The hugest thing that they could have brought into this movie to make this movie interesting is the doctor, which is what I thought this movie would focus on.
Absolutely.
Was you bring the doctor in, and it's the security guards not knowing what to do, and this doctor being a weird, manipulative person and pushing them out.
Dude, just like the Brian Wilson movie. That was that movie. It was fucking what's his name? Paul Giamatti as the doctor being fucking weird and ruining Brian Wilson's life. That's what this movie should have been.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it would have been kind of intriguing.
No, but who was the guy that Michael met that brought in that new security detail?
They're implying it was the doctor.
That was the doctor? Because
because
they implied
the doctor was the one that was making him get new security details and shit like that.
No idea what's going on.
Yeah, it's fucking.
It gets very, very messy towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I would say once they get to the mansion that Michael loves, and he's like, "This is magic. This is so much magic surrounding us." That's when all the money issues start happening.
Where they use a fisheye lens, and it hurt my brain to look at.
It didn't hurt my brain. I was like, I was tripping. I love that. But yeah, once that scene is over, it's like it turns into this weird, this different movie about like there's money issues, and then it gets very chaotic, and then Michael dies. And I don't know. It just. What'd you think of the guy who played Michael Jackson?
10 out of 10.
Yeah, me too.
His chin was huge.
Yeah, I
That's
thought
his real chin.
Really? Not his real nose though, right? He had some prosthetics on.
He had some prosthetics.
But he did speak in a British accent sometimes. 100% that happened, dude. It was jarring.
You're telling me my credit card doesn't work? I'm Michael Jackson. You bloody cunt.
Why does he sound like that? That's British Michael Jackson's hilarious to me. Oh my god.
Now, like you were saying, Michael Jackson's in this huge amount of debt, and his brother shows up, and his brother's trying to get his money, and he's like, "Tell that motherfucker I need my money." And Michael Jackson's like, "No, he's not allowed in the house." And then they call Michael Jackson's dad, Jackson.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Joe Jackson shows up, and that's where we have a narration where he's like, he may not like Joe Jackson, but, you could still tell that he was the one that was managing the family. He was still the one in control of everything. And it's like, thank you, narration. I could have figured that out from the things I'm seeing. It's fine. But then we have this scene where Michael Jackson is getting mad about the amount of debt that he's in, and everyone's just like, just fucking sell your music catalog. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna sell my music catalog. No, I'm not gonna do it. And when that happens, his Calm Down song is My Prerogative.
Oh my god. He makes Bill sing with him.
He makes Bill sing with him. So during that scene, none of the audio is synced.
Oh yeah. It's terrible. Is that the Michael Jackson's? Is that the version, or was it like a cover version of that or whatever?
It was the regular version.
It was? Okay.
Yeah. But
okay. That's good they got that.
That was great.
Yeah, and he sings it again later by the pool.
Oh yeah. That's when he has his fucking freak out.
Yeah. Oh god, the freak out.
But that whole thing is, he's in a huge amount of debt. And so he has to do this Vegas show in order for him to get out of debt.
Yeah.
Which he refuses.
It's like
a
residency though. Like he would have to play. He would do like a Britney Spears.
I can't do 5 nights a week. I just can't.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty old at this point. I mean, he's not that old, but he's in his 50s, right?
He's old in fake face years.
Yeah. He's tired, dude.
But his whole things that he says about that, it reminds me a lot of Dan Harmon. Dan Harmon recently has been talking on his podcast about how he just wants to get out of Hollywood and he'll do fucking anything he can. He's like, I just want to do whatever it takes for me to make enough money to just go off and do nothing and then die. He's like, and the thing that I hate is that no matter what I fucking do, they keep raising the bar, and I keep fucking like it's just always this far above my head, and I just fucking can't get out, and I just want to fucking get out. I want to do whatever it takes for me. He was like, I figured it out. I would have to make like, and he said some insane number like $100 million, you know, and he was like, if I make $100 million, I can just go off and die, and I'll be done, and it'll be perfect. He's like, and that's just what I want to do. I just want to do whatever it takes for me to do that, so I could just go off and be done. And I think that's what Michael Jackson wanted to do. You know,
absolutely.
Like, he just wanted to make enough money so that everything could be taken care of, and he could just go off
and just
live
live
with
in
his
Wonderland
kids and die.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know?
It's a very tragic story.
Yeah, it's super bleak.
Yeah.
You know, and that's also, you know, stupid Rick and Morty just got 7 seasons approved.
Yeah.
And part of me thinks that the reason negotiations took so long is because Dan Harmon was probably pushing for a contract that would allow him to finally be done.
All right. Well, maybe we'll be reviewing a Lifetime movie about Dan Harmon in a couple of years. In the same format.
I was Dan Harmon's bodyguard.
Yo.
I loved him. I was a part of his family.
Yo, Lifetime should just do this with every celebrity.
This is our story.
Just movies about celebrities' bodyguards. Oh, that'd be so good.
It's so weird how they made him look so good. You know?
Yeah. What do you mean good? Like, replicated Michael Jackson's appearance? Or like, because they did that very well. Or do you mean like portray him as like a saintly figure?
I meant portray the bodyguard in a good light.
Well, they definitely take a wishy-washy stand with Michael Jackson's the accusations that he abused children. Like they definitely had Michael Jackson defending himself throughout this movie. It's very interesting. I'm assuming Lifetime just didn't want to take a hard stance on that.
Yeah, Bill's like, he loves his kids.
Yeah, he loves
was
his
the greatest father that ever existed.
And his manager's like, do you really believe that? Like, seriously. So I don't know. It's still a mystery.
And when you watch that montage of him with his kids and fake Michael Jackson music is playing and they're just running around and they're having fun and like they're riding go-karts, you know, like all those accusations just get dismissed when you see that spectacle of magic and wonderment. That's the way I felt about it.
Dude, same.
I also felt like Lifetime needs to figure out how to make crowds look bigger.
Yeah.
The press conference that he holds,
it was like 10 people.
It's you can visibly see 7. I know they want it to be more than that.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not more than that.
Limited budget, Max.
Yeah.
Most of it went to Michael Jackson's prosthetics and makeup.
Oh my god.
Oh shit, dude. This was a fun one.
And you know, maybe Neverland is just a normal life.
Yeah.
Is the ending line of this movie.
We're all kind of searching for our Neverland.
Yeah.
You know?
Even though he wanted to be called Wonderland.
Wonderland. Well, that's the next one. I wasn't even sure how, like, when this movie started, I didn't know when it took place in his life. I didn't know that his death followed him coming back to the United States. You know, it was only, a couple of years. And this movie probably takes place over the course of a couple of years, maybe? 3 years?
Yeah, and
I thought there was more to his life than that. Like, he got done with the trial, and then he left apparently, right? And he came back. But I thought there was a little more to his life than him just being fucking miserable and crazy.
Poor.
Yeah, poor. Yeah.
And trying to buy $350,000 worth of toys.
Yeah, that was a depressing scene. It was a fun scene, like watching him shop for things.
Yeah.
He's like a little child.
Ask them whether or not I can take the toys home tonight and pay tomorrow.
She's like, no.
She's like, yeah, so that's $350,000.
Oh, shit.
I know the concept of money means nothing to you.
So you thought
Yeah.
Bill was bad the whole movie, right? The guy who played Bill? The guy who's in the Orville?
I don't know if I thought the acting was bad. I just thought in general it was bad.
Okay, I see.
You know?
Yeah. I thought you really felt his frustration in the late years of him working for Michael Jackson. Like, right after the whole shopping spree, his face and them not getting paid.
Yeah.
I could feel it in his emotion. Can you imagine not being paid for 6 months or whatever?
No.
Just working for Michael Jackson and dealing with that bullshit every day and not getting paid.
I can't, and that's why it doesn't make any sense to me.
I would quit. He just cared too much. He cared.
Yeah.
Because Michael Jackson's a child, I guess. He just felt like he
Fucking
needed
ridiculous.
to take care of him. I know. It's wild.
Now it's time for the one IMDb goof. Navi, who, if you look him up on Instagram, is the world's #1 Michael Jackson impersonator.
His name's Navi?
His name is
like
Navi.
Avatar? Like the species in Avatar?
That is indeed correct.
Whoa. I wonder if he named himself after the Avatar. Okay, go ahead.
He's the #1 Michael Jackson impersonator in the world. And he's the one who played Michael Jackson in this film. And under the goofs, it says Navi's British accent frequently comes through in his lines while portraying Michael Jackson.
Fuck. I told you. No question. He better, if he wants more roles as Michael Jackson, he better fix that accent.
And then, time for some little bit of trivia. This is the second Michael Jackson biopic to feature Holly Robinson Peete. She starred as Diana Ross in the ABC miniseries The Jacksons: An American Dream.
Wow.
As he is comforting his children, Michael Jackson sings Charlie Chaplin's Smile to them. He recorded his own cover of the song as part of his 1995 release, His Story, Past, Present, and Future, Book 1.
Oh. That's it, I guess.
Just great trivia, great goofs.
Hell yeah, dude.
What?
I love how the only goof is my goof. And that makes me feel good.
What would you like to watch next week?
Next week we're gonna watch and review the HBO movie Phil Spector, starring Al Pacino.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that.
Hell yeah.